Okay. So I just started recording. So, okay, let's kick off. Um, Formally, Namaste and welcome to the brief introduction of Sankshepa Ramayanam to youngsters. Thanks everyone for registering into this program. And I appreciate and salute you all to have inclination towards Ramayanam and the hope, belief, and faith in it that it will nurture your kids and craft your loved ones into great human beings. That's well appreciated. All right. Thank you so much. These registrations are overwhelming. It is double compared to what it was in the last batch. Okay. I got about 100, just over 100 youngsters registered. So some of them are siblings. So about nearly 90 families registered. So which is double than batch two, which is good, which means there are people out there who have so much devotion, faith, belief in our scriptures, our traditions, our Sanatana Dharma. That's well appreciated. Thank you. And hopefully we'll take a great value out of this program, and we'll be going through shortly what this program is, how it will be benefited to the young ones, and kind of thing. That is the agenda of this meeting today, right? So let's continue and let's try to understand. The agenda for this meeting is um, quickly to understand who we are. Probably most of you might not know who am I and who we are, who are behind me. So let's understand that. Some of you know, some of you probably have um, a friendship or an introduction with me in some way or the other. That's fine. So let's understand who am I, who are behind this, who are we. Then why Ramayanam and why for youngsters? Okay, because general impression is Ramayanam and these kind of spiritual processes, scriptures is all at the age, at a certain stage of life after you have a successful career and an accomplished life. That's when you probably turn to spirituality. That's one school of thought where people think that way. But there is another school of thought where it believes that it is necessary at very young age, as young as probably since you're born, to be specific, right? To be more particular, probably when you are in the womb of your mother, more specifically. So why Ramayanam at tender age? We'll discuss that. Then very coming to the specifically to the program, we'll understand what we are going to learn in this program. That means what the youngsters are going to learn, and along with them, what I'm going to learn, right? Because it's a learning process for me as well. And how we learn, the techniques, the tools, the resources, right? And then the next steps. Let's begin that. Now, we are a small group of volunteers, families and friends who believe in investing quality time in children today for a better world tomorrow. That's what we believe in. We advocate that personality development journey must begin at the tender age, very young age. Okay. We see it as a shame to learn how to be honest and sincere, or how to be compassionate and respect others, and how to communicate with others respectfully. All those sorts of soft skills when you're grown up. Not as it should not be learned as part of your corporate personality development program. Isn't it a shame to learn at that stage? It should be in your blood cells, right? So that has been the way in Sanatana Dharma. We didn't have any corporate personality development courses in our ancient history, right? So that should be part of the blood, right? So um, definitely it must be imbibed into children right at the tender age, and such qualities must grow in them and with them. That's our belief. And we don't have to worry about it. We don't have to do anything radically different about it. It's all there, well packaged and embraced, embedded into our scriptures like Ramayana and Mahabharata. This was the way of life in pre-modern era, but lost in the modern lifestyle, right? And being attempted to get back on track by many others through discourses and several other different ways. And what we are not new, we are not doing anything new, okay? But our unique focus is only on the youngsters. That's our focus, okay? So we want to see and get this kind of knowledge imbibed into youngsters, inscripted into their mind. Okay, just a disclaimer: we are not gurus, we are not scholars. Especially we are in the learning process, so we are learning with them. This is a commitment so that we learn and then transfer that learning to the youngsters as well. Now, what is our mission? Our mission is to implant Ramayana into as many young minds as possible. We believe connection with Ramayana will automatically take care when they enter into wider world of different possibilities. That's our strong belief. Now, why Ramayana at tender age? There are few advantages to it, right? It builds attitude, great attitude. Attitude is a foundation for any human being. However educated you are, doesn't care, right? Attitude, there is no attitude. So inculcating right attitude leads to a blissful life ahead. We want our children to learn how to be self-aware, self-confident, respect and empathize others, be disciplined, manage stress and anger, communicate well. We want them to learn these qualities in their very young age, not when they grow up and join a multinational job kind of stuff. You don't want to learn then, right? You don't want to improvise then. So you want to get out there well equipped already. So exploring Ramayana implants the blended package of all these qualities in youngsters and their minds, and remain strongly with them naturally. That's more important. It comes naturally. It doesn't come as a armor with which you are equipped later. It is in your blood cells by the time you grow. Now, the next thing is it serves as a leadership guide. Now, we learn a lot about leadership later in our management lessons, but learning Ramayana at young age itself serves as a leadership guide. It teaches us the ability to lead and manage oneself, which is most important, fundamental. And then it teaches us to and gives the ability to lead and manage relationships. Relationships are so important in life. It also gives us the ability to lead and manage people and teams, which is important when you deal with people, right? And it gives us the ability to manage large corporations and also nations. It produces leaders, great national leaders. It can, right? So that all comes with this foundation. Okay. So when children meticulously practice what they have learned from our great epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata, it can lead to, these qualities will naturally sprout in them. Now, it also serves as a life guide. Just like, have you heard of lane keeping assist in modern vehicles, in our cars, right? We are all familiar with it, right? When we are using the modern cars. So just like the lane keeping assist in a modern vehicle autocorrects your steering, right? When you're driving, when the vehicle is dropping out of the lane, Ramayana is extremely powerful to hold you to the truth and keep you on the righteous path if you are holding it without failing at any time. If you are holding it right, it will hold you on the right path. So we should believe it. I'm not saying you don't believe it, but I'm just pressing on that point, right? You believe it, so you are here. Truth and righteousness. These are the fundamental pillars of Ramayana. Satyam, Dharmam. That is what Rama's character is based on, right? So truth and righteousness are simple words. They sound very simple, but very, very powerful and fundamental to the spiritual process. Not just life, what you lead materially, but also for your spirituality. Now, Ramayana, not only Ramayana, but any scripture, right? Any Sanskrit scripture, it serves as a process of yoga. You don't have to do special yogas, right? So how does it do that? Uttering any Sanskrit words constantly makes life vibrant. And when such words are arranged in a particular form, particularly like slokas or mantras, they accumulate a lot of energy. No? Sorry. The energy it accumulates into one's life is parallel to none. Ramayana is a composition of over 24,000 such slokas, and some of the slokas are considered as mantras by scholars. So uttering Ramayana shlokas is so beneficial to everyone, and that is another significance. And pronouncing, in my experience of teaching youngsters all these years, parents have come back to me saying their pronunciations have improved. The way they speak, the clarity in which they speak has improved a lot compared to before classes and after classes, not just Ramayana, in other classes as well. So uttering those Sanskrit shlokas is itself a process of yoga, not only clearing up your speech, but also your internal systems. I mean, you might have heard these things a lot previously from other sources, but just to putting these all together, that why we are trying to teach Ramayana for kids and what its significance is being reiterated here. And finally, but not least, is it acts as a spiritual enhancer and advances one's spiritual life. Whether one realizes or not, spirituality is the most important element in anyone's life. I think everyone will agree that. But different people may realize this fact at different stages and ages of life. Unfortunately, in some cases, people may end up lives without even realizing that. That's a bit unfortunate for them. But they may take another birth, which is believed in Sanatana Dharma, to probably realize in a later stage, in a later janmas, right? So we don't want to fall in that second category. We don't want to fall in that later category where we don't realize the importance of spirituality and waste this lifetime. Right? Now, what we learn, that's about the background of why should we learn. But now coming back to the facts of this program, what we actually learn, what the youngsters are going to learn in this program, right? So as part of this program, we learn to chant 100 shlokas, laser focus on 100 shlokas from the very first chapter of the Ramayana. Ramayana has about 500 chapters for accommodating these 24,000 shlokas, right? So the very first chapter of Ramayana is the first chapter of Balakanda, which has 100 shlokas, is considered as summary of Ramayana. The set of these 100 shlokas is popularly referred as Sankshepa Ramayanam or Sankshipta Ramayanam sometimes, which means it is a summary of the whole Ramayana, which is actually narrated in 24,000 shlokas. So that's what we are going to learn. We are going to learn these 100 shlokas. We are going to chant, we are going to practice, and we are going to by heart as well, learn by heart. Okay, the aim is to learn by heart. So what we also learn is, we also learn the whole story as it just happened. No cinematic, dramatic inclusions, as it happened, which is narrated or which is authored by Valmiki. Okay, so we take the original script and we really analyze the English translation of it. Okay, so we understand and analyze the story as it happened. And what that happens while we are learning to chant, right? And as we are learning to chant and understanding the story, what's happening? We are actually building our attitude, knowingly or unknowingly. It automatically happens because the youngsters' attitudes will tune by listening to stories, right? Now, that's what we learn. The previous slide says what we learn, but how do we learn that? How do we learn that 100 shlokas? How do we learn that story? Okay. So we learn the chanting of slokas through the oral tradition. Probably most of you know it. What is the oral tradition? When a teacher or a guru um, chants something, renders the chanting, the sishya or the student will repeat it twice. That is called Santa Paddhati. Okay, the oral tradition. Vedas are typically learned, scriptures and Vedas are typically learned in that conditions. So this program is aimed to teach those 100 shlokas in that manner. So when I say a shloka or a part of shloka, a word from shloka, the student is expected to recite back 2 times. A chance is given because we are on online. A chance is given to um, everyone will chant while on mute, but probably there is a pick in a random where one will be unmuted and repeated. Okay, so we understand randomly how students are repeating, right? So because of the size of the class, we may not get chance to go around every student. So we randomly pick some students each class. So we'll try to cover maximum all students over a period of all sessions, right? So we follow that oral tradition for learning shlokas, and we try to learn 2 shlokas per week. Okay, just 2 shlokas. We'll understand that, which means um, that requires 52 weeks, approximately 52 weeks of time to learn the whole 100 shlokas. There is a reason behind it. Don't worry. I'll just explain why these 52 weeks or 50, right? Over these 52 weeks, we understand the epic as it happened. We do this by exploring the story, answering the questions. So we'll have exercises, answering the questions of each week's exercise at home, and discuss the story back in the class. Okay, that is the process. So we learn, we chant, we discuss the story, we have exercises like questions. So you go back home and recollect the story and answer the questions. Come back to the class to discuss the story. This will be an interactive session. Okay. Then in the class, we critically analyze the characters, their behaviors, and emotions, and learn consciously or subconsciously several do's and don'ts. Okay. So when you say Kaikeyi, if you are already aware of the story, right? Bharata's mother Kaikeyi, you have a perception if you know the story. When you say Rama, you have a perception. When you say Ravana, you have a perception. So you, just by knowing the story, just by their behavior, understanding their behavior in the story, you build up a perception and you build up a attitude of what's good, what's bad, what should be done, what should not be done in your life. And for youngsters, it is more effective. Probably for adults, it's just an intellectual entertainment, but for youngsters, it impacts their life, right? Now, why 52 weeks? Doesn't it sound so long? Okay, why not knock this program off in just 10-20 days during school holidays? Quite possible, right? The reason for this long is, one, we don't want the kids to stress on this along with their other activities they are already doing after the school or during school or whatever. And they just enjoy the journey. It should not be a stressful program for them. They should really enjoy the journey, right? And we want the children to connect with Ramayana for this long so that it becomes part of their life ahead. So it will be habituated in their life. It's an investment of thinking about this wonderful epic throughout the week after the class for a significant part of their upbringing, of their growing and most receptive stage. So it becomes a significant part of their life in their most receptive stage of life. 10, 12, 15 years children, if they spend a part of their routine for 1 year, like 1 hour and 1 hour a week for the session, and probably 15-20 minutes working on the exercise on some day of the week, So that if that they imbibe that for 1 year, that's a significant impact on their life, right? That is the most receptive stage for any kid, right? So that's the intent behind having that long at that stage of for the youngsters. It's approximately 10% of their time for an average of 10 years kid, right? So 1 year of for 10 years kid is 10% of his lifetime so far. How we learn, just an example. So let's see some examples of how we learn, right? What you're saying is we use several tools and resources, either we subscribe or are freely available on the internet to make it more interactive and interesting. To give you an idea, this is an example of weekly quiz, which the youngsters are expected to answer either by themselves or with the help of any resources accessible to them, including help from parents, grandparents, or internet. You're allowed to use even AI. I don't mind. The objective is you need to get the answer out into your brain, transmit it into your answer sheet. Okay, no matter how. Okay, you can use AI as well. The scores from the quiz are accumulated to the student's profile and added to their final grading. So there will be a scoring system. Okay, so there will be a scoring system and grading system that will be published at the end of the program. So it will be accumulating and it will be in a progressive manner, accumulating over a period of time. Now just take 15 seconds to look at the way we ask the questions. Okay, and imagine the depth at which we go into the story of Ramayana. If you look at those two questions, you can imagine the depth at which we go. I'll just give you some time, about 15 seconds to just go through those two questions. Sorry. Okay, I hope that's sufficient. So these are not basic questions, right? Does anyone disagree with me? These are not really basic questions that anyone would know just by saying, "Do you know Ramayana?" Okay, yeah, I have heard the story and I know Ramayana. You can't say that unless you will read meticulously the story using some really authentic script. You wouldn't know those answers. So that kind of depth we will be working on, right? Now, this is another example of a fun-filled homework, a crossword puzzle based on Ramayana. So this is again online. So this will test the familiarity with the story and the characters embedded in Ramayana, giving a solid exercise to the youngsters' minds, and thereby permanently imprinting the values and morals learned from Ramayana. Okay, have a look at it for a few seconds. The quiz is partly solved with two or I think three correct answers and one incorrect answer. So the correct answers are marked in green and the incorrect answer is marked in red, right? So that's how you will be expected to participate in the exercises. That's a homework. Just a few seconds for you to just quickly grasp that one. All right. Okay. So this way, we attempt to explore, study, and discuss the entire epic with questions and answers to leave the impact of Ramayana in the young minds forever. Okay, I promise. This is an example of in-class exercise we do using real-time interactive competitive quiz, which is fun and exciting. It has proved so exciting in the past that students really enjoy it, really get excited at this part of the session. Okay, so we use a subscribed tool called Mentimeter to uh, play this quiz. Okay, I can comfortably say it's a game kind of thing. So when at the end of the quiz, um, the scores are displayed depending upon how correctly and quickly the students have answered the questions. These questions or these scores too will be added. These scores too will be added to the students' profile for final grading. This is the board from previous batch. All right, this is the real board from previous batch. Okay, just some miscellaneous points here to give you the expectations, rules, and etiquette of the classes as we start next week. Um, when we all join the Zoom meetings, I expect everyone to switch on the cameras so I can see the young ones' faces and how actively they are participating. This is expected to be a serious involvement with fun. We will be having fun. It doesn't mean we are very serious and it's a serious business. It's not serious business. The participation must be serious, but it's fun. Obviously, mute always because of the size of the class. We want to avoid the noise and we want the delivery to be effective, content delivery. But as we randomly pick for anyone for interaction, that as someone raises a hand, or if I call out randomly someone to repeat, that participant must be ready to unmute immediately, just in the interest of the time, right? So we have a very precious 1 hour, and we have 100 participants. So just 1 hour will just fly like anything. It's not enough. I was initially thinking 1.5 hour, but 1.5 hour is quite difficult to accommodate in my daily routine as well as your daily routine. So 1 hour, in past 1 hour worked, but very tight. It was very tight in the past for 1 hour. Okay, but we'll try to make it in 1 hour. So this time, because it is double the size of last batch, please appreciate the size of the class. It is just over 100. And I have registration. It was intended to be Australian youngsters, but it has spread out to other parts of the globe as well. Few, not many. So we may expect people from other parts in India or somewhere else as well. So be patient. Essentially, the message is be patient. It's a large class. Try to be receptive during that 1 hour. Be focused, please. And please appreciate, as I already highlighted, random selection. Don't think you haven't got a chance. It is purely random, not even by my randomness. It is automatic random. So I'll just list out all the names. I'll pick randomly someone for participation. But anyone who raises their hands when I ask a question, obviously, if you know how Zoom meeting works, it pops up on my screen. So mostly it will be first comes the first serve. So when whoever raises the hand first, it displays first on my screen. I may pick up the first. If the chances are repeatedly gone to the same person, probably I'll pick someone else. It's probably you understand the sense of online classes, right? And please appreciate, this is more important, the difference in pace of each individual youngster. Okay, some are very slow, some are very quick, some are on a normal speed of learning and repeating. So we need to be extremely patient, right? So appreciate the different paces of each individual kids. Scoring and grading, as I said, there are a lot of scoring and grading in different stages, different exercises, quizzes, crossword puzzles, and in class quizzes, right? So these are meant for maintaining that spirit of healthy competition and motivate the kids, right? It's no way a tool to distinguish the youngsters intellectually or with their talent, right? It's no way. The different every youngster is awesome in their own field, right? And finally, please appreciate we are not perfect. There could be some deficiencies in the program, my side, the program structure. So we all need to just cooperate and just go on. Feedback is always welcome, but the objective of the program is to inscribe Ramayanam story, Ramayana shlokas in young minds, whatever or however way possible. We don't know. We need to get them out into their mind. That's the intent. Okay. So for that, we work out the program to be more interactive, interesting, and kind of stuff. Yeah. And what next? This is a short briefing session, and it's like a kickoff, but actual real kickoff of the classes is next week, next Sunday, same time, 6:30 to 7:30 will be the classes. So actual youngsters will be sitting in your place. So now I see parents there, mostly with kids, but yeah, actual kids will be sitting, and probably you might have noted my requirement of in the application. Kids with 10 years or under, I expect parents to sit because they cannot be independent in the Zoom meetings by themselves, and also chanting and kind of stuff. So I have seen in my past, in my experience, kids where parents sit with the kids have learned more effectively the content than the kids of the same age who are independent without parents. So I had both in the both combinations in my classes. It is extremely effective, not just as minor difference. Extremely effective where parents sat with kids in the class, especially for younger ones like less than 10. So more than 10, like 12, 13 years kids, they can be independent, right? They don't need parents to be on their side. So my requirement, that's the reason I called out that requirement. It is expected that parents actively participate with kids of age 10 or under. All right, that will make the program easier. And that's all. I think we have a Facebook page called Ramayanam for Youngsters. That's where probably some of you have seen the post asking to register, circulated. So go to that page, like the page, so you get the updates every week, publishing of the scores and the any updates, appreciations, feedback on the page, along with the WhatsApp group. Previously, when the groups were smaller, I used to have an interactive WhatsApp group. But this time, for privacy reasons, I had to make it a community announcement group, not a WhatsApp interactive group. So if you have any questions or if you want to interact with me, feel free to message me directly, because you can't message in the group. It's only an announcement group. If the question is relevant for everyone in the group, I will post the answer back into the community. If the question is too personal and it's only between us, I'll just reply you to my private message. Okay, that's the technique I'm trying to use this batch. All right. So this is about me and the briefing session. Now, yeah, spread the word. The admissions are closed because of the already full class, but please still spread the word for any subsequent batches that will come up in your network. Okay. Yeah, that's the message what I just told. Thank you for your participation. I'm looking forward to starting the classes next week. And now the floor is open for questions. Anyone can unmute themselves and ask questions. Feel free. Comments, doesn't have to be questions, comments, suggestions, anything. You can talk.
Hare Krishna. So this is Krish's mom. So you will be giving an extract or a passage for Krish or for my son to read, isn't it? Every week, and then he has to read, is it?
Good question. Yes. So that's the plan. So I think I missed out on that point. Very good point you brought up. So when I mentioned the quiz here, my intention was to have a content that is very specific to that quiz, a biteable chunk. So if you Google Ramayana, you will end up having n number of resources and you don't know where to start. So there are different opinions as the authors narrate Ramayana. They input their own opinions in the narrations, right? So to avoid that confusion, I will provide the script to read and answer these questions. You are free to go outside that script as well, but there is a recommended script that will be issued. Point number one. Point number two is, for these 100 slokas also, I will provide a script that is in English. All right. So that is still a Sanskrit sloka, but the lipi is English for the youngsters to follow. Okay. So they only need to stick to that scripture. Okay, I'll just quickly try to bring up how it looks. So they need to stick to that scripture of slokas, what I share with you. The script will come before next week's class. And then you need to just read the content that is provided as a link. Probably I'll place that link somewhere here. So you can go to that link and read that short story, and then you will be able to answer that quiz questions. Did I answer your question, Krish?
Yeah, that should be fine. So there will be, because if we teach them one single viewpoint of Ramayana, I'm happy. Like we needn't have hundreds of different opinions of Ramayana. One good thing is all good enough. Another thing, now since you talked about all the sloka which they have to recite every day so that they know. So will you be giving an audio clip along with the sloka, because that the pronunciation is really a difficult thing.
Yes. So in the past, what I have done is, my technique of teaching is, when we learn 2 shlokas per week, I said, right? So after the class is finished, in the announcement group, I will immediately send my recording of those 2 shlokas for you to play in the car, or when you are feeding your kids, or when you are taking them to go to. So when you're making them asleep, so anytime when you find some 5 minutes or 10 minutes of time, you can probably play that audio file from your WhatsApp, so they listen what they have learned, and then that will be actively running in their mind throughout the week. So just immediately after the class, I will send a recording of my voice. You should bear with my voice. I'm not a professional chanter or singer, right? So still, it's okay. I hope that's okay. So with that recording, they can repeat along with me or after me with the help of the recording, and I will send the links for the quiz and links for the crossword puzzles. Okay. In class quizzes and all will be taken care of. So I'll be sending those 3. Okay.
Thank you. That answers mine. Thank you then.
Okay. Can you see what I'm sharing now? It is called Read Ramayana, a PDF.
Yeah,
file.
we can see.
Okay. So this is the PDF file I have specifically extracted. This is obviously available online. But what I have done is, I have extracted that online version and modified it for kids, modified it for this specific session. Okay, so it is mostly the same as what you find in the website, but where it comes to this shlokam, right? The script is slightly more suitable here for the youngsters compared to what it is on the line. So if you go to readramana.org, you will find the script, but I'll share this PDF with you. Okay, this is the first slokam of first chapter of Ramayana. Okay, so tapasvadhyaya niratam tapasvi vagvidam varam naradam paripapracha valmikir munipungavam. So when you listen to this for the first time, you may not understand anything, but as you progress and start learning word by word, tapa, when I start teaching you guys, the youngsters, these words, splitting them into smaller sections, smaller words, that's when it all makes sense. And they will be given a chance to read. A couple of youngsters randomly picked up will be reading the meaning of it. Okay, that's how they participate. They chant, they read the meaning, and they chant, and then we'll get into the story. All right. Okay, only two slokas per week. Okay, so I'll be sending the recording of those immediately after the class. Okay, and after that, it's up to you. You're free to explore whatever you want to, taking this as a basis into the story, right? That is your interest and your keenness and your curiosity to get into the depth of the story and width of the story, right? So this is the script I will be sharing. Okay. Right. Any more questions?
Hi, will you be sharing meeting ID and password because most probably kids will be joining from other device?
Yes, yes. When I share the details, the Zoom link, it has a link which will directly take you to the meeting if you are joining from that device. Otherwise, at the end of the link, if you scroll down to the first message, my first message, where it has a full details of the meeting, it has a meeting ID and the password. Password is always 1234.
Okay,
I think
thank
it's
you.
1234. Okay. Otherwise, 1234 5. So yeah, 1234. Okay.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
it will always be constant. So it doesn't mean everyone can join. It's only limited to this 100 registered participants, right?
Yes,
Just to make life easier, not complicated.
thank you.
Appreciate your questions. Any more questions, comments?
Hi,
Hi.
just a quick one. Will you be sharing the recording of today so that if wanted, we can re-listen to it again?
Yes, I will do that. I'm recording, so it will be downloaded on my computer. I'll put it on cloud and share the link with you.
Okay, thank you.
Um, I've got just a question. I'm a mother of a 5-year-old girl. So at times it's very difficult to put her in front of, especially the online classes. So is it only for the youngsters or even the parents like us can also join at that time? And then we can just impart the knowledge, the time that they're not going to sit with us for, the session.
Yeah. See, classes. Okay. I feel little shy in answering this question. I feel I'm not eligible to teach parents, but you are welcome to participate. Uh, I'm not, I see the intention of teaching to kids is I am learning along with them. You're more than welcome. I don't mind parents because parents sat along with the kids in the past. Of course, they are not as young as 5-year-olds, but you are welcome. There were some exceptions, 5 or 6 years olds sitting in the class, but just as you were thinking, the parents have actively participated, and in fact, they have learned all 100 slokas. The parents have learned all 100 slokas by heart themselves, so that the intention was when I asked them, when I appreciated them, because I don't know, I can't render it by heart. I only can proficiently or effectively read by looking at it. Um, because I learned not when I was young, I learned when I became old, right? So there is a memory difference between adults and youngsters. So those parents have learned all 100 slokas by heart, which amazed me. And when I asked them, they said, I can't carry the script always with me. So I had to learn so I can help my kid when they go out of sequence or then when they forget. So that was a fantastic answer. The motive behind they by hearting the shlokas. So you are welcome. But it is my disclaimer is I'm not I'm not a scholar to teach out to parents, mature adults and kind of stuff. It's not, but you're welcome.
I understand that. Anyways, good to know that.
Thank you.
You shared the shlokas that you had put in English. A humble request, is it possible to also put the Sanskrit version? Because for those parents who can read Sanskrit, the pronunciation is more clearer when you read it in Sanskrit than in English.
Good question. Just hold on for a sec. Okay. Are you looking at my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I am going to the same the website where I printed that PDF, right? So there is an option to select any language you want.
Okay. That's good.
If you select Devanagari and you have a secondary script also, if you're a, let's say, Bengali or Gujarati or Tamil, so Balakanda first Sarga. So this is basically for entire Ramayana, but we are focused only on first chapter of first part. You will have Devanagari as a primary script, Tamil as a secondary script, and then meaning.
Brilliant.
Yeah, this is a brilliant site. Indeed.
It's not mute anymore. I think.
Yes, beta? Someone is speaking? Okay. So that is the advantage of that one. So you can take any language. Parents, it happens to me. I'm comfortable in Telugu. So I put a Telugu version on side, but I teach kids the English version. So the kids are running English, but behind the screen, I am looking at a Telugu script. But kids, the youngsters don't know I'm looking at a Telugu script.
Hi there. Thank you for this initiative. So I was just wondering if every session will be recorded.
There was no plan for every session recording. But if it adds immense value, I consider recording it.
Yes, please. I think that would be great if you happen to want to revisit and learn again or refer to something that's been already told.
Okay, I'll make a note of it.
Especially when for youngsters, their attention span may be a bit. So after a while, they can always refer back.
Yeah.
I agree. My other question was, since it's 52 weeks, that means almost a year. What happens during school holidays, especially December and Jan? That's why maybe if you're planning to continue, then recording might be a good option.
Yes. Batch, when I conducted batch 1, I had to give holidays. I did give holidays in both the cases, batch 1 and batch 2. But my plan for this batch was a little bit different because that ran a little longer because of those holidays. So it really ran over a year, like 14 months or 15 months, which is a bit too long. So my intention for this batch was to not give holidays, but somehow cover up the missed classes. But if most of them are going away, it doesn't make sense having classes, right? Like in December. But I have also seen people going to India or overseas and attending class from there as well. Because if you are in India, it's not a too bad time to attend the class. It's about 6:30 means it's about 2 p.m. in India.
Two classes on properly.
Sorry? So the plan for only batch 3, I'm trying to change.
Change.
Okay, someone right? So I'll just mute them. So yeah, the only change I was thinking back in mind is to not have holidays. But if let's take a poll at that time in December. It's only the December that matters, right? During Christmas holidays.
Yes.
So we'll take a poll at that time and go with the poll. How does it sound?
It sounds good, and I believe, like, let's see. I mean, December is still far away, but then it will help to just record the sessions for those
Yeah.
kids who might have to miss or are traveling, so can't attend. So
Yep, definitely recording. I have noted down. Consider recording every session and make it available for few days. I'm worried about the spaces, limited spaces I have, and kind of I don't know how much time it takes, how much space it takes on the cloud to record, and what's available. They probably will go first in, first out. When I'm running out of space, I need to delete the earliest video and keep the latest videos on the cloud, something like that. Is that something that's okay?
yeah, that sounds good.
Recording of every session. And holiday.
Hi, I understand this class session is based on the shlokas, and you will explain like 2 shlokas per. I'm not sure like shlokas cover the entire story, because each one shloka might have lot of stories. Like we have used to reading Ramayana book, like chapter wise, it's a lot. The shlokas are in 4 lines and it's very short. How does this work?
Yeah, this totally it is disconnected. So when we learn shlokas, we learn its meanings, but we don't only learn the story around that shloka. We learn story for over next 50 weeks, covering 10. I said 500 chapters, right? So we will cover approximately 10 chapters of story in each week session. So we'll go deep into the story beyond the shloka, right? So we will not stick to the story around the meaning of the shloka. We are going, so the two different things, both are independent. We learn shloka from first chapter, or we aim to learn the 100 shlokas. As we are learning, we will be learning much wider story. So they may not sync. Sometimes as we go, at some point in the middle, the shloka, what you're learning, has no relation to the story what we are discussing. It may be much deeper. Okay.
So basically you cover the story, right? So
entire story without missing any details.
okay, great.
So it is based on Valmiki Ramayana, but we will not go into the jargon, or we will not go into the details, technical details of it, because this is aimed for youngsters, right? So we'll not go into the Pratipadartha Tatparyam or every meaning of every shloka. We'll go into, or we'll keep it at a level of summary of 10 sargas without missing the details. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Does it make sense? Let's call it episodes. Okay. Let's call it episodes. If you said you read Ramayana, right? So
Yeah, I did.
Tataka Samharam is an episode. We will cover every detail of Tataka Samharam or Sita Rama Kalyanam. How Rama goes to Mithila, how he sees the bow, aims to, attempts to lift it up. So we'll cover every detail of it, but we'll not go into the Pratipadartha Tatparyam or word by word meaning, what we call, right? It doesn't make sense for youngsters. It is too boring for them.
Yeah.
That
So
adults
yeah, the focus, it goes beyond shloka. Focus is on the story and it's in order.
That's right. It is sequential. It is serial. It is very serial, in the sequence of the same way as Valmiki has written it. And it is beyond the first sarga story. It is much deeper, wider. Okay. It covers entire Ramayana, every episode of Ramayana. I have read one of the books. Okay, they have beautifully categorized all 24,000 shloka story into 100 episodes, about 9,900 episodes, which covers 500 chapters. That means on an average, each episode has covered five chapters. So that has covered entire Ramayana, about 100 episodes. So we will be discussing and solving questions relating to all those let's say approximately 100 episodes. Okay, it's a huge, imagine like a TV serial, right? TV series, 100 episodes. So you will not miss any details.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Divya here. My daughter will be attending classes. Her name is Shraddha. I have two questions actually. So in this class, first of all, what is the age range of the students attending? That's number one. My daughter is 10 years old. Just to know, this is just for curiosity. And my second question is, me as a parent, I want to make the most of these classes for my daughter and myself. Apart from just sitting with her for the class, what else can I do as a parent to get the most of these classes? Because this is a really great initiative. And then I want to make the most of it for my daughter and my family.
Yeah, good question. I haven't thought about advising how, when someone asks about what you can do to take more beyond the class, right? So beyond the class. So if you're asking for the class, definitely, what you can do is you can help them research, and you research by yourself and explain that story what we have discussed. Probably I'll start with, if I was a parent, as you were asking, I'm thinking it's on the spot. Okay. So what I would be doing is I would be asking, if I'm sitting, I know what has been discussed. And when I come back and as a bedtime story or a dinner time story, I will recollect what was discussed and what I'll probably discuss with my kid, what has been, how he has understood the story. And if I'm not aware of the Ramayana of that to that extent, probably I'll take out a book. I'll pick up a book and research on that part, or read. Research is a bit too deep. Probably read that part what was discussed, because I'll be calling out which parts of Ramayana were actually discussed. So you can just focus on those chapters and try to read those chapters from some deeper resources. Okay, during those 1 week, 5 days, right? Let's say Sunday we cover five chapters. You have 7 more days or 6 more days to probably read these chapters when you find time, some evenings, some afternoons, or somewhere. So you may get some more perspective than what was discussed in the class, because what we discuss in the class is only limited to youngsters' perception or what we want to transmit into their minds. But there might be different perceptions, deeper and much more matured interpretations by scholars for those chapters. You can, point number A, listen to the similar chapters, discourses from the web, like YouTube. You can read by yourself. There is a enormous content. There's enormous content of web. Right? So let's say if we discuss Sita Kalyanam, Sita Rama Kalyanam, probably you can search for Sita Rama Kalyanam episode on website, or take those chapters and listen to those discourses in your language. If you're Hindi, there are many discourses in Hindi. If you're Telugu, there are many discourses in Telugu of those particular chapters. So all of them are authentic. There are in every language there is a scholar popularly discoursing on Ramayana on YouTube. If you search for the chapters discourse in your language, there is every chance that you will get that. Listening to that probably will help you.
Okay.
So that will give you much more perspective to discuss with our kids, and also it's a bliss for ourselves.
Definitely.
So that will give a point to have a conversation with a kid on this topic. That way, the Ramayanam lives. You will breathe and live Ramayanam in your house.
Yeah.
That will vibrate and reverberate in your house for next 1 year and forever.
Dhanyawada.
I'm not sure if that was helpful answer, but yeah.
Okay. Dhanyawada. That was helpful.
Yeah. Any more Okay. It's we are just running out of we ran out of time actually. We are 4 minutes over the scheduled end. But I can still take up questions. But anyone who wants to leave, you can leave because we are end of the meeting now. But I can stay here for 5-10 minutes for whoever has questions. And see you all next week. Those who are leaving, I'll see you all next week. I'll see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jai Shri
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Jai Shri Satvik, Samarth, Arush, Shilpa, Rohan, Sujit, Prithvi. How are you all? Any questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Good. Okay, if you don't have any questions, we'll end the session. All right.